Hello again. In this video we will learn about developing the Greencard iOS application or app using Xcode, the Apple developer tool. And my friends told me in the last video I was a little bit boring, so I will try to be more fun and maybe talk a little bit quicker than last videos. We'll see. Talking about last videos, then in the last video we were talking about coming the Greencard app to Heroku, so we could use the web service in our app and in our web. And that's exactly where it lies today. If we where we stopped last time, when we make the command names, we will get all the names that we had in our database. And if we try some other command like JSON format, we get nothing, and that's what we need to change. We need to get our app to produce the JSON format of the data. So then we will start with seeing our folder. Here we see the Greencard folder with the proc file, which tells the Heroku which type of application we produced. It's a web with the name Node.js, and then we have the application.js file, the Node modules, which we only use the MongoDB module, and the package file, which tells Heroku that our app is called Greencard. The version number, we depend on MongoDB. We need version 0.5 or newer, and the engine that we are using is Node 0.10 or newer and npm 1.2 or newer. Then we will look at the app file again. And as we remember from the last video, we only check for the URL that comes into the web and check if it contains the / names. Then we will go through, get the data from the database, or only the 50,000 first 50,000 records, and write it out in a text format to the browser, not in the JSON format that we need. So the next thing to do here is to check for a new command, and we will check if the URL object path contains the index of /JSON. Then we are going to produce the JSON format of the data. And then we need to tell like we told the browser that we are going to write this out in text format. Now we will want to write it out in application JSON format. This is the standard header of the content type. So we will say that now the content type will be application JSON. The next thing we need to do is to get the data again, so we can just copy paste the line here, and we will just get the first 15,000 lines to make the result set a little bit smaller, and we will use the same find command and hide the ID column by saying that ID equals 0. Then we want to sort the array with by the name column. So that's why we will say name colon 1, and that means that we are going to sort the result set by the name column, and then we will convert it to array like before. Then instead of looping through the result set like we do here, we can just write it directly out. So we'll just say result write or response write. Then we have to take the result set and use the built-in JSON stringify command to convert the JSON in a string format, so the browser will understand it. So then we will say that the result set should be called names, and we will send the result back. So now we have written out the header, we have got the data from the database, and we have written it out to the browser in the JSON format. And now we will save this file and go back to our terminal. We will do like before, log into Heroku, and with our email and passwords. And now we are logged into Heroku. The next thing we need to do is to tell Heroku about the changed file that we made the changes with. So we will just tell git add point all files, which means all files, and then we can say git commit with the message JSON, and then we see that there's one file changed, so we need to push it up to Heroku. So we will just check that we have the correct remote path set, and that is set to Heroku. So we can just say git push Heroku master. The master of the Git repository will be pushed up to Heroku. And what happens now is Heroku starts to receive our changes, and it already sees that we have made one file change, and it sees that we have a Node app, and sees that we are dependent on several packages, build these packages and build the application and start it up again. So everything went well. So now we can go up here and try if the JSON parameter is now working, and it seems like something is coming back. So now the JSON format of the data in the browser. So we are ready to take our next step. Now we are ready to start with our app to get the data from this JSON service for this. So we will need to set up the development environment for our app development. And to do that, we can go into developer at apple.com, and there we have this iOS program that you can register, and we are going to register in that and use $99 of our $100 budget, so it's not a lot of money left after we are registered with Apple. So Apple has taken away 99% of our budget, but after we have done that, we are ready to download the Xcode development environment. And to do that, you can go to the App Store and just search for Xcode, and here it lies in App Store, and you can install it. And what's interesting to see is the text about Xcode here, where It tells you what is possible with Xcode, and here it says to test or deploy application on iOS device, you must be a member of Apple iOS developer program. So that's why we need to spend our money on. Okay, after Xcode is installed, we can go ahead, start it, and say create a new Xcode project. And it will be a tabbed program, which comes as default for me. We will call it Greencard. And we will start our classes with GC, just to see our local classes. We will tell the app to use storyboards. It means that we can design our application with storyboards, which makes it a little bit easier. And to use ARRC, which is automatic reference counting. And we will save our app. And up comes our application. Here we can see that this template that I selected comes up with a default application that I can just switch to the iPhone simulator and try to run. And it doesn't do a lot, the first version. It comes with app with first view and second view. So you have the tab down here and you have two different screens. So what we do next is we will see that here we have the storyboard. So it's a good time to organize our application a little bit. So we can take the pictures that lie in the app, and we can select them, right click and say new group from selection, and that we can call images. And actually the files are not moved to folder. This is just a virtual folder that is to make our solution a little bit more organized. Then we can take our controllers, these 4 files, the header file and the source code file, right click and set that in controllers folder or group. And then we can take the storyboard files and move them in a group called views or other, something like that. And here we can see our view, default view that came up when we used the default template. We have the first view, and here we are able to do all the usual stuff that the design editor is meant to do, to drag in different types of graphical user interface components, or objects as it is called here. And we will start by deleting the first view, because we want to represent a table view, not this standard view controller, which only includes text. So we will delete that like this, and we will drag in a table view controller like this. So now we have an empty table view controller with one cell. And now we need to connect it to the tab controller. So we will hold down the command key here, control key here, and drag it to the table view. And then we say relationship seek will be view controllers. So here, and now that is connected to the view, and we see that the second has become the first view, but that we can by changing the hierarchy in the storyboard hierarchy that we can see here on the left side. So now we only have to change the view to the correct class by selecting the table view controller here and click on the cell to change the reuse identifier to cell. And that concludes our storyboard, at least.